This Prismatic Hunter build is one of the strongest things I have ever created. The gameplay I'm showing is me 38 power under and clearing through rooms with ease. It has some insane damage without even using Liar's Handshake, really good survivability from decoys and frost armor, and near infinite uptime on Transcendence and your super. Now before I get into the video, if you guys do enjoy the content, a like and sub would be greatly appreciated. Thank you guys for all the support so far. So the goal of this build is to get to ×3 combination blow as fast as possible so we can start an infinite cycle of Transcendence and supers for insane crowd control. Not to mention also utilizing our decoy so we can do all this while not having any enemies aggroed on us at all. So how we do this is by utilizing Gambler's Dodge with the aspects Winter's Shroud and Threaded Spectre. So on dodge, we slow and spawn in a decoy, taking aggro away from us while also suppressing enemies' abilities. Now we are utilizing the brand new strand exotic Hunter Boots, which buff the decoy's health and duration, plus spawn in more threadlings when they explode, and it's a lot. These things caught me up by surprise with how good they actually are. Now add in combination blow for really good melee damage and the fragment facet of courage, so our melees deal more damage to enemies that are affected by the slow from our dodge. The grenade ability is actually totally flexible for whatever you prefer, but I do think Duskfield works best here since we're trying to slow and freeze everything so we can just CC the entire battlefield, and it kind of helps in building the darkness meter, but trust me, it's not hard to build it with this build. Building Transcendence is actually extremely easy thanks to the constant slow and freeze from dodges and utilizing Silence and Squall, which just got a massive buff in PvE, plus spamming arc melees infinitely. You should be able to build up both meters pretty quickly to have it up, at least always from my gameplay. You are also going to want to put on a hands-on plus dynamo on the helmet, so when you get melee kills, you get more super energy, and then dodging to get your melee back will also give you more super energy. And you will see in the gameplay, I'm able to just constantly cycle through them so often, it's actually insane. Since we are focused heavily on freezing, we are going to want to use the Fragment Facet of Ruin, where stasis explosions have increased damage and radius. The increased explosions will also explode decoys nearby, allowing for an army of threadlings to kill anything else that survived that stasis blast. And from gameplay, you can see it's a lot of them as well. Now the other fragments used in this build are going to be Facet of Protection for extra damage resist near enemies, since we'll be pretty much point blank at all times. Facet of Purpose, so on orb pickups we can get frost armor for a stacking damage resist. Facet of Dawn for radiant on melee hits for both extra weapon damage and dealing with anti-barrier champions. Lastly will be Facet of Justice, so our ability final blows during Transcendent will explode for even more AoE damage. This one can definitely be changed out to anything you want, it is totally a flexible slot. I just kind of like the little extra AoE damage, it's pretty cool. Now I'll leave all the abilities, fragments, aspects, and everything on screen so you can see it all together, since I feel like Prismatic builds can be a little bit of an info overload, so seeing everything together might help. Now for the mods used in this build, on the helmet, hands-on plus dynamo for the crazy super gains, triple heavy-handed on the gloves for only a 1-second cooldown on orbs from melee kills so we can build up frost armor quickly, get grenade energy, and then also heals as well. On the chest, a melee damage resist and concussive dampener mod because you're going to be point blank a lot with this build, so you're going to want to have to deal with both of those. The boots is going to be a recuperation and innervation for heals and grenade energy on orb pickups. The third can really be whatever you prefer. I like to just get myself maybe, a scav for a little extra more heavy, but it's up to you. And for class item, double bomber for extra chunks to grenade on dodge and powerful attraction to pick up orbs around you when you dodge. You could even think of taking away one of the the bombers so that you can instead put in Reaper, but I'm not using my weapon a lot, so it's not really that useful. Now the artifact mods are actually not that crucial for this build, so mix and match how you please, but I do very much recommend using both Shield Crest for the increased melee damage when you have frost armor, and then Transference for increased melee and grenade damage while Transcendent. The weapons used on this build are going to be really just a 1-2 punch shotgun and tractor cannon to deal with champions and boss enemies. Then really just whatever other weapon you prefer, since you won't be shooting that often with this build. I really wanted to make these new strand boots work in some way because man, I think they look so cool, especially with the super black shader. And this build I hope can showcase that they are actually a really solid pick in PvE content. And also that you generally don't need to use Liar's Handshake for a Hunter melee build to work. Obviously the damage is very nice, and you can see it lacks sometimes here, but I don't know, man. I'm minus 38 and I'm clearing everything with just ease, man. It's just a breeze. And this build's playstyle is just so much fun to me because, I mean, once you get it started, it's just a never-ending cycle of constant chaos. And, I mean, enemies just aren't even paying attention to you as well because you have decoys all over the place, so it's just a chaotic mess, and I love it. That's what I really like about this build, is it's just kind of a high risk, high reward. Once you start to really get it rolling, then it's just snowball effect with it. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoy this build as much as I do because it's just some dumb fun and even hard content. Also, leave a comment of any other builds you'd like to see me make for any characters, especially with any of the new exotic class items coming out, because I will be doing a lot of testing and trying new builds with that. See you guys in the next one. Peace.